What's going on, everyone, and welcome to a Ryudo Games news segment. We got news about Nintendo. They just did a Q&A session where they answered a lot of questions that their shareholders gave, while at the same time, they dodged a couple, and that's what's got everybody talking, so that's what we're going to get into today. If you like these kind of news segments, be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring that bell so that you'll stay up on all news-related videos that come out of this channel. Alright, so let's get into it. So overall, with the Q&A, there are two major takeaways from this entire session. One that is very positive, and the other one that leaves us kind of lost. The first one is talking about how Nintendo is looking into ways to try to reduce scalping. As we all know, when the Nintendo Switch originally dropped, they were in short supply, and then of course the scalpers bought up as many as they could, and then were all over the internet overcharging them, seeing Switches for $700 to $1,000 when it's only supposed to be $300. So when asked about this issue, current Nintendo president Furuwaka basically listed out that he is looking into ways to try to prevent or at least reduce the amount of scalpers that will be out there. One method that they have mentioned is making sure that they have plenty of consoles, that they meet the demand of the people so that there's enough to go around, they don't run into any shortages, and scalpers won't have an advantage. So this is a good thing with them planning ahead to make sure that everything is taken care of as far as the production side is going ahead of time. Unlike what happened last time, hopefully they don't run into any issues. And yes, making sure that they have enough product would reduce the amount of scalpers, but I doubt that they'll actually be able to prevent it. But they are talking about, they try and look into different ways to try to end scalping completely. But come on, let's be honest. We're not going to be able to end scalping completely. Those guys are dedicated to what they do. And we're definitely going to see some overpriced consoles out there when the new Nintendo console drops. Not to mention, focusing on this could end up backfiring on Nintendo if they're so focused on making sure that the production is absolutely ready. It could end up pushing back the new console's release date, even though they haven't really given us anything yet, but they have mentioned what they're shooting for. And so apparently Nintendo is looking to have the new console ready to go by around March, April of 2024, which would be great, but as they announced this, they said that that was their earliest window that they're looking for. Earliest meaning if nothing goes wrong. And, you know, behind the scenes, stuff can go wrong all the time to slow down the process. So the chances of us getting, it's not guaranteed yet. So we might end up seeing the new console pushed back. Hopefully that doesn't happen and it's just smooth sailing and they are able to produce enough so that the scalpers aren't able to take over the internet for a few weeks and we're all able to get our new console without any headaches. So fingers crossed, wishful thinking. Let's hope Nintendo's able to pull this one out. But aside from that, what's really got everybody buzzing is the question that Nintendo basically completely dodged. And that was the question one of the shareholders brought up about backwards compatibility. They wanted to know if backwards compatibility would actually be available. They saw how not having backwards compatibility for the last few consoles, they were disconnected from each other. You couldn't move your games from one to the other. And they saw how that negatively impacted the fans. So the shareholders are actually thinking about this and they want to know what Nintendo's plan was for this. And Nintendo, in a roundabout way, gave us a lot of information without actually answering the main question. So just to go over exactly what the president said to completely dance around backwards compatibility, he opens up with, "We are always considering various things about the specifications of future hardware, but at this stage, I would like to refrain from making any specific comments about future hardware." He goes on with, "As for the sales of the Nintendo Switch software, there are many different types of physical packaging software bought in stores, download versions of packaged software and download-only software. Many of our customers have been playing on the Nintendo Switch with downloaded software or download-only software compared to previous game consoles. The ratio of digital sales has been increasing. As a company, we would like to continue proposing unique gameplay through dedicated game consoles that integrate hardware and software in the future, so please look forward to it." Don't you love how he just so eloquently danced around and without actually saying anything? Leaving us all in the dark, right? But they continue. "Regarding the transition to the next generation, in the past, hardware was the only means for us to connect with our customers, and every time we released a new console, we had to rebuild our relationship with our customers. However, with the Nintendo Switch, we have been able to directly connect with various customers through the Nintendo Switch system. The Nintendo account is not only usable for those with game consoles, but also for customers with mobile devices. And the current number of accounts exceeds 290 million. In the transition of the Nintendo Switch to the next generation console, we would like to make sure that customers can smoothly transition while still utilizing their Nintendo accounts. Honestly, he really just dodged the question and then segued into something that they weren't even asking about. But there is a little bit that we can try to take away from this. This is all business speak. They're speaking in code here, basically. So let's try to break this down a little bit. As we all know, they're not trying to give away anything too early or, say anything that's going to end up getting them in trouble later. So what do they really mean by all of this? Well, I can say for one that this actually makes me a little bit nervous because they mentioned absolutely nothing about moving your digital games over. And then the part about the physical games, the fact they mentioned that physical packaging comes in various types, it's like they're saying, okay, we're keeping our minds open about maybe changing up how the physical game cartridges look for their design, which means there's a chance we might end up with a new type of cartridge that cannot be swapped back and forth between the Switch and the new console, which would be terrible if they actually went that route. But it's something that they might end up doing. And so what I honestly don't like about this is the fact that without giving us the answer, it leaves everything up in the air for us. We could be seeing everything get moved over, or they could get lazy about it and just decide, you know what? It's your Nintendo Switch account, and it may not even get moved over. All they're talking about is being able to transition your Nintendo account onto the new console. And the thing is, your Nintendo account can be linked to your mobile and your Switch at the same time. So in fact, you can have your account on multiple Switches. I do. So if that's the case, there's nothing stopping them from actually just allowing your account to attach to the new console without any information regarding your games, save files, or anything else moving over with it. And you could end up stuck in a situation where you have your new console and whatever new games you have on it, but you're gonna have to keep your old Switch and the games on there if you want to continue enjoying those. Now, for some people, it may not bother them. Like, it really wouldn't affect me too much. I don't really get rid of consoles until they absolutely stop working. So it wouldn't be anything that would affect me personally too much if I had to keep my current Switch along with the new console and continue from there. I mean, I kind of did the same thing with my Switch and my 3DS. I kept using my 3DS for a while until, I was completely done playing those games. But the thing is, you have to account for everybody, and you have to think about the customers who are going to feel kind of screwed over by this whole situation. If Nintendo does go this route, it's going to negatively impact any customer who has a Switch that's slowly dying out and they're looking to replace it. Someone who just doesn't like to clutter their house and they want to just, trade in their old Switch and use the trade-in value to be able to reduce the price for the new console and save themselves a little bit of money. Someone who's planning on handing their Switch down to somebody, maybe somebody, a friend or a family member after they get the new console. There's a number of situations where you have customers who are not going to be keeping or don't have plans to keep their Switch after they upgrade. And so if they go the route of not doing backwards compatibility and end up forcing us to keep our consoles, that's going to hurt a lot of fans, and that's going to be another huge negative impact on Nintendo. Not to mention that this is going to make them look like greedy crooks again if they go this route, because the feel that fans are going to have is that, oh, you're trying to make us or force us rebuy our games again. Now, the one little bit of hope that we have is that the new eShop looks like it's designed in a way to where it will be able to just transition and flow into a new console. So hopefully through that, we'll be able to go into the eShop and just be able to click re-download and get our downloads back. And hopefully Nintendo makes the smart decision to keep their game cards exactly the way they are. There's really no reason for any kind of design change, honestly. They are just fine the way they are. So here's hoping. Here's hoping that Nintendo makes the smart decision and puts in the work, and more so hope that their network does not break down when it's time for this to happen. I have a feeling on the day where it's time that everybody start transitioning their accounts, whether we're able to move our games or not, the entire site is going to crash from everybody trying to use it at once. Anyway, other than that, that's pretty much what's going on here. So it's a lot of speculation going on. The rumor mill is going to be churning out so much, so be careful out there. Don't believe everything you read on the internet, and just make sure it's coming from an official Nintendo source, because you already know, now that we know that the new console is slated for next year, there's going to be a lot of speculation and a lot of people trying to claim they know what they're talking about, and when they don't. So keep an eye for that, and let's just keep our fingers crossed. Let's keep our fingers crossed that Nintendo does not pull another situation of the Wii U to the Switch, and this transition to our new console is nice and smooth and gives us everything that we want. So that's going to do it for that one. Like I said before, if you enjoyed these news clips and just going over these, be sure to hit that subscribe button, like this video, share this video, and I will see you guys on the next gaming news segment. So till next time, take care of yourselves, and I'm out of here.